Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of New on Music Row. I was told by the group behind the scenes here that it's the 40th episode. So if they have something special planned for me or something today, there's some hijinks going on, I'm just going to apologize for it now. But what I'm not going to apologize for is this week's lineup of the 5 picks of the week. You don't want to miss it. We're featuring a gal from Virginia Beach. Yeah, you're going to want to stick around for that. She's a great artist, and she's got a great story as well, too. All that and more coming up on this week's episode of New on Music Row. It's only here on the Rise Network. Welcome to the 40th episode of New on Music Row. Chris Miles here in a little bit of a different atmosphere, right? You're probably wondering where I am. Well, I'm in a recording studio. And the reason why I'm in a recording studio is we're going to have an interview a little bit later. Not this episode, but we'll save it for a couple episodes down the road. But we've got an interview with another artist that's got a new song coming out. And we'll talk about it a little bit on this episode. But we're going to have a full-blown interview coming up probably in the next week or so that you're going to want to tune in for. I think you're going to really enjoy this guy. But that's why we're here. That's why we got all the things going on. You could probably see the guitars over there. You can't see the really cool Electrovox speaker things that are the amplifiers. That's the word I was looking for, that are behind me. Those are kind of cool. And there's some really cool, like, old microphones in the area, too. So a lot of cool stuff going on in here. But let's look at the 5 picks from last week. Nothing really out of the ordinary as far as where everything landed. Blake Shelton's let him in anyway. About 2.4 million streams. That's pretty much where we kind of figured out it was going to be. Lee Brice's Time Will Tell. Well, that was a special release. It was only released on Apple Music, so you can only listen to it or stream it through Apple Music. So that had about 175 streams. And then Randy Houser's Back in the Bottle. Like I told you guys last week, it's been out for, I think, roughly about a month and a half. So it had a ton of streams to begin with. This week, though, it only had 9,000 streams, but it's finally being released to radio, so I expect that number to grow in the coming weeks as well. And then last but not least, Time Goes On by Cole Wetzel. We're looking at 1 million streams. So you guys really love Cole, and you showed it. So Time Goes On is probably going to be another big hit for him. We'll see how things go there. Moving on to the 5 picks of this week. No surprise, I think some of these artists that are going to be in this category, shall we say, Megan Moroney, Cloud9, again from Savannah, Georgia. I don't think we need to go over her or any of the stuff that she does because I think by now she's pretty much a household name. And if you don't know who she is, you must be new to country music. She's, of course, from Savannah, Georgia. And, you know, we featured her on the show, I think, at least 3 times already. So this will be like her 4th time as well. The band Perry's coming back. They've got a new album coming out pretty soon. And this week they're releasing a song called Psychological. They, of course, they attribute themselves to being from Greenville, Tennessee. And the band Perry, no stranger to country music. You've probably known them quite a while. They took a little bit of a hiatus, but they are back, and we're going to see where things are going to land for them. If you haven't heard of them yet, you probably want to check out If I Die Young. It's part 1 and 2 now. They came back, I think it was like 3 years ago, and they released another version, more of a pop kind of version of the song, and it's absolutely amazing. So check that out. You probably know them for songs called Done, You Lie, Better Dig 2, and then All Your Life as well. But they're making their debut for the 5 picks of the week this week with Psychological. That's the new one coming out today. Up next, a gal that a lot of people have said or asked me, hey, is she related to, like, The Boss? And by The Boss, I'm talking about Bruce Springsteen. Alana Springsteen making her way onto the 5 picks of the week. She's got a song out called Back to Self, and it's her. I mean, her vocal tonation is just absolutely amazing. And you know what? This gal has got some amazing talent. If you haven't heard of her yet, check her out. She's currently touring with Keith Urban. And she's got some great stuff out there. Ghosting My Guitar is one of my personal favorites. Chris Stapleton is on the song. Now, here's the really interesting twist here. Usually when they feature other artists on songs, usually the artist is singing. In this case, Chris Stapleton is playing lead guitar. And the cool thing that goes on with this song is you get like that echo effect about like somebody from your past instead of like actually having vocals. And that's the way Alana wrote the song. So really cool there. She's also got some other great stuff. Hot Honey, you probably know that track. Me, Myself, and Why. Zero Tracks, rather. And then also Looks Good on You with my buddy, well, not my buddy, but an artist I really like, Mitchell Tenpenny. He could be my buddy. I mean, he has that kind of, charisma about him, right? Up next, Russell Dickerson's The Roses, typical ballad from him. I think this one's going to do very well. You'll probably even hear it at weddings coming up in the next couple of years here. I think it's just that great of a song. He's, of course, from Union, Tennessee. And if you don't know Russell Dickerson, well, then you, like I said before, you must be new to country music. He's got some great stuff on there. God Gave Me a Girl. She Likes It. Love You Like I Used to. The last song we featured of his on the 5 Picks of the Week was Worth Your While. So he's just got some great stuff in his catalog. He's also got a really cool song called I Heard It in a Country Song, which is really cool. Pays an homage to like the late 90s country and early 2000s country as well, too. Last but not least, George Burge making his debut here on the 5 Picks of the Week as well, featuring Luke Bryan on this track. Ride, 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 the title of that one. And George is kind of making a name for himself, up-and-coming artist. Cowboy Songs is probably what you know him from, or you may have heard his other song, Mind on You, which was released into radio a couple of years ago, right when I was kind of like making my way out of radio. That's when George was kind of making his way into the scene as there as well. So those are the 5 picks of the week. Megan Moroney's Cloud 9, the band Perry and Psychological. Alana Springsteen, Back to Self, new cut for her. She's got a new album coming out fairly soon as well, too. Russell Dickerson's The Roses, and then last but not least, George Burge featuring Luke Bryan with Ride, Ride, Ride. Again, all those songs are going to be on the playlist on Spotify. You can check them out there, and we'll get things added on there as well. Like we do as every single week, we feature other artists on there. Rising Star Spotlight is one of them. The weekly pick, the artist or the song that I'll feature there, we'll put on there as well. And then I like to throw in some of the history, some of the older songs on there for you too that we feature in the show as well. Speaking of things we feature in the show, it's time for the Rising Star Spotlight. And this week, I've decided to give that spotlight to a gal who's already on the 5 Picks of the Week. Alana Springsteen from Virginia Beach, Virginia is our Rising Star Spotlight of the week. And she's got that new cut out this week, which is called Back to Self. Check it out. It's on the playlist on our Spotify little playlist thing we got there. It's called New on Music Row. Let me know what you think of it. Is it a great song? Do you like her tonation? I just think she's an amazing artist, and I think she's going to do really well. Of course, you have a say in that, because the more you stream her music, the better things get for her and for all the other artists as well. She's got an interesting story. She started off kind of early. She performed the national anthem at the Norfolk Tides minor league baseball game at the age of 8. And then by 9, she was performing the national anthem at Wrigley Field for the Chicago Cubs. So, like I said, she's got a great voice, and she's got a very unique sound as well, too, and I think you're going to enjoy her. She is a bit of a sneakerhead. She has an avid sneaker collection. Particularly, she has a ton of Jordans as well. She's even signed and given away a couple of her own Jordans at the end of some of her tour sets as well. So if you catch her, with Keith Urban, the jet tour's kind of ending up, but if you catch her, you might be able to get one of her, sneakers signed. Her grandfather gave her first instrument. It was a classic guitar, and that she found that about the age of 7. And he gave it to her on the condition that she would actually learn how to play it. So, I'm sure he's looking down on her and with a huge smile as well. She does list Taylor Swift as one of her biggest influencers. Her first ever concert was Taylor Swift. It was for the Speak Now tour. And then she later worked with Liz Rose, who, of course, co-wrote many of Swift's early hits as well. She has a really interesting writing ritual. She signed her first publishing deal at about 14 years old. And to this day, she still maintains a grounding ritual of basically playing with her band before every single performance. Kind of an interesting thing. She's also an outdoor hobbyist. When she's not on stage, she enjoys fishing, golfing, hiking. And she recently shared that her first big fish, she caught her first big fish, rather, during a recent boat excursion. No word as to how big the fish is, but, if you've heard a fish story from a fisherman, you know that they all exaggerate how big the fish was anyway. So, anyway, I'm totally kidding. I mean, who knows? We'll see. She has also opened for Luke Bryan as well. And, I was saying before in the 5 picks of the week, a lot of people frequently ask if she's Bruce Springsteen's daughter. And they're not related, but her grandfather's church once displayed a sign reading Springsteen concert. And it was, of course, to promote her performance, which, of course, naturally caused a lot of commotion as well. She just finds herself and her sound to be a little bit of everything. She's influenced by 80s music, rock, indie, pop. Critics have often labeled her signature sound as a blend of country pop sensibilities along with some breezy intimacy and then some honest relatability as well. And let's be honest with each other. That's really what draws us to a lot of these artists. However, how relatable their songs are to us and how we can find our own identity in some of those songs, or how we can identify with those songs and relate them to ourselves, right? She also describes her songwriting as therapy, with a place where she can be her most authentic and vulnerable self. She likes to untangle all kinds of emotions. And I think a couple of those songs that we talked about earlier, Ghosts in My Guitar, talking about an ex, I think that's another one of those vulnerable songs. Goodbye Looks Good on You, a great track from her. And then I personally love You Don't Deserve a Country Song. I just think it's great. It's kind of like that, kind of thing, right? But that's Alana Springsteen. She's our Rising Star Spotlight of the week. Moving on to what's going on in country music history on this date. Of course, we're talking about February the 13th. It is Friday, so, be careful, I guess. Anyway, born on this date in 1982 in Chicago, Illinois, as a matter of fact, American songwriter and record producer Ian Futchik. He has worked with many artists, including Shania Twain, Casey Musgrave, Miranda Lambert, Little Big Town, one of my personal favorites, Brothers Osborne, and also Beyonce as well. So happy birthday to Ian, born on this date in 1982. Going all the way back to 1947, Hank Williams recorded, he didn't record, he recorded, My Love for You Has Turned to Hate. He did it in Nashville with Fred Rose producing it. And it also features Tommy Jackson on the fiddle, Dale Smokey Lohman on the steel guitar, Zeke Turner on the electric guitar, and Louis Innes on the bass. And the track became his third single, released on Sterling Records in April of that same year. 1971, Rose Garden by Lynn Anderson. I think we're going to put this on the playlist, by the way. It was number one on the country chart, and it remained at number one for 12 consecutive weeks. It was the year's longest unbroken run atop the chart. It also marked a record for the longest uninterrupted run. See, I'm talking too fast, and that's the problem. It also marked a record for the longest uninterrupted run at number one by a female vocalist, which actually would stand until about 1989 with Reba McEntire. She topped the list for 13 consecutive weeks with Sweet 16. Moving on to 1989, Alabama released If I Had You, the second single from the album Southern Star, which went to number one on the country chart. It became the 25th first number one single for the group. 2003, Earl Scruggs received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Also in this year, he and his musical partner, Lester Flatt, were ranked number 24 on CMT's 40 Greatest Men of Country Music. Moving ahead to 2005, country music winners at the 47th Annual Grammy Awards included Gretchen Wilson, who won Best Female Country Vocal Performance for Redneck Woman. Best Male Country Vocal Performance went to Tim McGraw for Live Like You Were Dying. That's such a great song. And Best Country Performance by a Group went to the Dixie Chicks for Top of the World. Moving on to 2011. Country music winners at the 53rd Annual Grammy Awards included Best Female Country Vocal Performance, The House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert. Best Male Vocal Performance was Till Summer Comes Around, Keith Urban. Best Country Performance by a duo or group with vocals, and Best Country Song went to Lady Antebellum, or Lady A as we have to call them now. Need You Now, the title of that song. And last but not least, in what happened on this date in country music history, 2012, President Barack Obama awarded singer Mel Tillis, the National Medal of Arts for his contributions to country music. Tills is also known for his hits I Ain't Never, Good Woman Blues, and Coca-Cola Cowboy. I think we're going to put Coca-Cola Cowboy on the playlist as well. We'll see how that works out. And that's a look at country music history on this date, February the 13th. Make sure a black cat doesn't cross your path, or whatever other superstition things there are. I don't know. Anyway. All right, moving on to the weekly pick. This one is not going to be for everybody, but it's kind of a look at up-and-coming rising stars in the country music catalog. And this guy, I think he's got what it's going to take. And I think you guys should start listening to him and get used to him. He does have kind of more of a poppy country sound. So like I said, it may not be for all of you. I know I got some outlaw country fans out there. But Maddox Baston is who we're featuring for the weekly pick. He is from Birmingham, Alabama. He's got some great stuff out there. Girl in Green is a great song. He's got a song called X's. Southbound is one of the songs I like by him. I Don't Like You Anymore is just a great song. And then also Tears in the River. Some songs to check out from him. But like I said, they're going to be on the playlist on Spotify, so make sure you check that out as well. It's simply titled New on Music Row. We put new songs on there every single week. And this week, Maddox Baston is going to be featured on there as well. Now, his story starts on the athletic side. Before he got into music, he was a serious athlete. He averaged about 35 points per game in middle school basketball. And then he got diagnosed with Osgood-Schlatter disease in his right knee. That was in 2022. And he could no longer play. So that's when he spent the summer picking up the guitar. And he went out and sang with his father. So that's where things started. He is a watch enthusiast. It seems like a lot of these artists are starting to get into like collectible type things. He says he's an avid collector of watches. And he's almost never seen without a nice timepiece. He likes to check his reflection to ensure his outfit is perfect. So he is very, 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 very relatable. He believes a great song needs three things: relatability, catchiness, and sound production. And for him, relatability means focusing on coming-of-age themes and teen love, that his age group can connect with. And that's why I said this is not necessarily going to be for everybody. He is a younger artist, but I think with the younger audience that we do have, you guys should check him out. And you know what? It's great for those of us that have been around, the country veterans, I like to call us, to listen to some of the new stuff as well, too. This guy's got some great, relatable stuff. And, you know, the funny thing for me is that I found myself, like, relating back to high school days when I was listening to some of his stuff. So it's kind of like an escape, if you will. He made his Opry debut in March of last year. He was basically one of the youngest artists to ever grace the stage. And like I said, he's got some really interesting musical influences. He's a country star, but his playlist is surprisingly diverse. His favorite artist of all time is John Mayer. He also cites Frank Sinatra, Michael Bublé, and then Playboy Cardi as his major inspirations. He's got some major songwriting credit already under his belt. At 14 years old, he landed a co-writing credit on the smash hit Tough by Lana Del Rey. He's also opened for Lainey Wilson. Now, his song Girl in Green was based on a true story about a fan he met at a show, but he didn't get her name. And then he eventually tracked her down to thank her for the inspiration. So isn't it cool how artists can just come up with songs in so many different ways, and there's so many different influences? I think learning the story behind these songs is one of the most interesting parts or aspects of music nowadays. He does have a new lead single that came out in January. It was called Any Other Night. And it's officially described as the first song in a string of upcoming releases for him this year. And last but not least, he describes his writing and his musical style as a mix of old-timey country pop and even a little southern rock. He has specifically used the phrase, "right as it happens." And that's how he describes his creative process, drawing inspiration from his real-life experiences as a teenager on the road, i.e. Girl in Green. He's also going to be at the Salt Shed, which is a local venue right here in the Chicagoland area. He'll be there on March the 20th, but we'll talk about that as we get closer to the date as well. And that, of course, is our weekly pick of the week. Maddox Baston, take a look into him. Like I said, he'll be on the playlist right there on the Spotify. It's new on Music Row. And if you're looking for stuff to do this weekend, I know it's Valentine's Day weekend, so maybe you've already got the weekend spoken for and you've already got plans, but maybe you don't have anything going on tonight. If you don't, Adam Doliak's going to be at Joe's on Weed Street. Check him out there. And then if you're looking for an up-and-coming artist who is just starting to make her way into the music scene, you can go to Bub City tonight and check out McCartney Reinhardt. She's got a couple of great songs. Bones and High House are the two that I've been listening to a lot, and I think you might enjoy that. Now, if you're looking for something extra to do tomorrow night, maybe Valentine's Day goes south, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it goes great, and you guys are looking for something to do afterwards, and you're not really ready to go home. You can head over to Carol's Pub. The White Saddle Band is going to be there. They have they do great covers of country music. They got a couple of their own songs as well, too. Not sure if they're going to play any of that tomorrow night, but you know what? It would be worth checking out. And that's a look at the upcoming shows going on this weekend right here in the Chicagoland area. And that's the show, the 5 picks, the weekly spotlight, and then, of course, the Rising Star Spotlight. What'd you think? You agree? You disagree? Send me comments. Let me know. Like, subscribe. Send the video link to your friends. You can see the entire video on YouTube, and you can catch the podcast on Spotify and also on Apple Music in a podcast form as well. But you can only catch everything here because of the Rise Network. And we'll be back next week with another episode. And until then, I'll see you on the flip side.